100 bags, back it up. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk. 100 bags, back it up. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk. 100 bags, back it up. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk. 100 bags, back it up. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk. All that work up in the trunk.
Pioneer DDJ-200, the most affordable controller Pioneer sells. An entry-level controller aimed at beginner DJs and hobbyists. Today we'll talk about the pros and cons of the leading brand's £140 DJ controller. Let's start with a little tour. This is a really simple version for people who don't really know their way around a controller. So mainly you have the decks and the mixer. First we'll talk about each deck. These two are identical, except this one plays track 1, sorry about that, and this one plays track 2. And then if you have 4, then it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The most important thing is that these are capacitive jog wheels, which means that when the music is playing, if you go around it, not the top, you'll either speed the track up or slow it down. There's also some very nice symbols here if you forget. Then the top part, this is what capacitive means. It's almost like a mouse pad, and it stops it, and then you can control the entire track like a little vinyl. This is important. For example, if you're cueing it in your headphones, which we will talk about, and you want to get it perfectly while no one can hear it, you just drag it along the side. But if you want to get it very, very far into the track, then you just go like that. Or you use your mouse. After that, you go down, you have these pads. We'll talk about these first. These are called performance pads, and they can do a bunch of things and perform. So the thing you can do, for example, on record box, you can do hot cues, beat loops, pad effects, and sampler. Hot cues is when you're playing a track, you can, for example, just add in that. Now whenever you press it, it goes back to that moment. Then you can set another one like there, and then you can play around it, make it sound nice, add a bunch of these. When you press beat loop, the lights disappear because it changes. So now these are beats. One important thing is these are pads, not a dial, which means if you're going to tighten the loop bit by bit, you can't really do that on here. Because as you can see on the screen, there are presets. So you have 1/4, half, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. You get all the way up to 512, but you have to use your mouse for that one, and all the way down to 1/64. As I was saying, you can try. I mean, you can go like, not the same, not as smooth. After that, you have pad effects. Obviously you can change, I'm not going to show you them all. A nice one I like to use when you want to mix out of a song, just to finish it off, you just go echo and it just goes off. On apps like, for example, DJ, what you can do is have the bottom set for loops and the top set for cues, so you know you can play around with that as well. Up next we have something that's pretty important to me, at least. It's the play pause button. Guess what it does? It plays and pauses. Well, this one is the main cue almost. So, for example, this little orange thing on the bottom, that is where the cue is set for the song. So when I'm playing it, no matter how far I go away, whenever I press it, it goes back to the start and pauses. What you can do is if you hold it, it plays, but then when you let go, it goes straight back to the front. After that, you have tempo. It's basically a more sophisticated version of this, so you can make the song go quicker, much as you want, and then you can see the beats per minute there. After that, one way to already have the beats synced, so you don't have to almost do it at the exact same time, don't have to match it at the exact same time, you press the beat sync. So if you haven't noticed, playing these two songs, headphone users, beware. They're not in sync at all, so you press these two, boom, their beats sync. Lastly, on the decks we have the shift button. This is basically a do it all button. For example, for the cues, if I'm very, very far away, if I press shift and cue, goes straight back to the very, very start of the song. Or for example, if I have a bunch of cues set, so once you have a bunch of cues, if you don't want the cues, you can just press on shift and delete them one by one. And if you don't feel like doing this in the middle of a party, you can just press shift and it goes way quicker. Look at that. Right, so now we're done with the decks. Let's talk about the mixer. At the top here we have the EQ, so you have your lows, your mids, your highs. Then you have the filter. Then up here we have the Bluetooth symbol and the light indicating if Bluetooth is on or off, which we will talk about because it's one of the standout features for this thing. So next we have the headphones. Guess what these do? The headphones. So if you want to bring another track in and you want to mix it to sound well, I also can't hear it now, but when I press this, the sound goes to my headphones so I can mix it better. So if I want to listen to track 1, I press that. So now I hear both the tracks in my headphones so I can cue it better, and there's no distortion so I know exactly what it sounds like. And then master just does the music that's coming out already. Next, and this is a pretty obvious one, these are the volumes. So we have the volume for this one, and the volume for the other one. And this is really similar, so I'll just show you. It's something called a crossfader. It fades between the songs. So this goes fully left track, this goes fully right track. And then obviously the more you bring it on, start hearing the other one. Right, that's it for the tour. Now let's go to the pros and the cons. So firstly, what are the pros? Well, as I told you, it's aimed for beginners. So its user-friendly design kind of takes away from the intimidation of the controller. But it does come with some very important cons, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. More experienced DJs don't have to bring a massive bag full of stuff. They can just bring this and their laptop, or this, their phone and a power bank, and they can just play on the go if you want to. But if you are into just playing on the go, these two controllers are cheaper and smaller, made just for that. Another important feature of this is the versatility. It can connect to multiple devices, including Wii DJ, Rekordbox, Edge & Mix, and DJ. For example, if you look here, Rekordbox, Wii DJ on the controller. So I hope it works with Wii DJ. I haven't tried it, but I'd imagine it does. I haven't been able to connect it to Strato DJ Lite, which might be a letdown for some of you. But to be fair, it's not written on the controller, so... A somewhat rarer feature is the Bluetooth connectivity. Remember when I said it's good on the go? Yeah, it got better. Now you won't even need a laptop. You can just bring this, your phone, and a power bank, and you can have an absolute blasting music. But this controller does have some kinks of its own. You can't achieve this price point without cutting some corners. Let's talk about the cons. Firstly, and this is the main issue, you're not going to want to bring it to paid gigs at least. As some eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed, first of all, you nerds, second of all, I connected my headphones, for example, to the PC, or in your case, the laptop. It has one port. One single USB port. No headphones, no audio ins or out, one USB port to connect to a laptop or a power source. Which means the quality of audio will be worse because it's going through a laptop speaker system. Or you're going to need a crap ton of adapters, but it just won't sound as good. So you can't connect it to any professional sound equipment without sounding like a crappy YouTube video. And this is such a big thing. You're not using this for gigs. Maybe a school party, but nothing big. So if you're gonna want to connect one of these, you're gonna need an audio splitter, one of these. So you can take this and plug it into your laptop. Here you can plug in your speakers, for example, and the other one your headphones. And then configure it in Rekordbox, where there's a bunch of videos on YouTube for that. So I'm not gonna show you, loser. Let's put this somewhere where I won't lose it, if I ever do need it. I would recommend getting the Pioneer DDJ-200, this one here. It's slightly more expensive, but it does solve most of the issues with this. But if you are just starting now and you don't know if you like the hobby, then this is better for the money. Okay, remember what I said about the Bluetooth feature? Hopefully, because that was like 2 minutes ago. Well, sometimes there's a slight latency issue, so for some reason, if you ever want to professionally mix through Bluetooth, don't. Just use a physical connection like a wire. Another small downside is the plastic build. Although it's durable, it might not feel as premium as metal build controllers. Also, I found that the software might lack some things. For example, I found that on Rekordbox, you can't really change what the pads do except from those 4 things. Another big downside is the downside is going to be the lack of any onboard screens, so meaning that you have to rely on the laptop or phone for all the data that you need. For example, on the higher end models, on the decks there's usually track information, and there's a screen on the wheel so you can see where the cue points are and all the fancy stuff. And you can see if it's moving or not, just in case you can't hear the music. We really are spoiled, aren't we, in screens? Oh yeah, and the jog wheels are slightly too small for me at least. This is a really minor one, it's just a little pick, but It's a review, it's what we do. As you can see, it's pretty small, which means it might not feel as precise as you want it to. In conclusion, the Pioneer DDJ-200 is an excellent start for potential DJs. Its ease of use, versatility, and high quality performance make an excellent starting point for beginners and hobbyists, while it may lack some advanced features and premium end build quality of more professional controllers. It provides exceptional value for money and a solid foundation for anyone aspiring to become a DJ. I recommend it if you want an entry-level controller that has some higher end features, but you're not planning to bring it to any big gigs. If you're doing like your cousin's birthday party, then this is more than enough and it will look super sick for all the kids. However, if you're seeking robust build quality and professional functionality and you actually want to use it in big gigs, then I'd recommend looking elsewhere. Pioneer as a company is a really good starting point and you'll learn some of the Pioneer only tricks that can be transferred to higher end models. And that's it. Thanks for watching and have a lovely rest of your day.